Chapter 7. The Second Sunrise. The bus hissed as it slowed to a stop at the terminal. The air was thick with exhaust fumes, shouts, and the pulse of city life. For most passengers, it was just another morning, but for Dory, it was a resurrection. She stepped off the bus, holding one small suitcase, the same one she'd carried when life had stripped her of everything. The city lights didn't feel as intimidating as before. They felt like a second chance, whispering, "Start again, girl." Her heart pounded. She could still hear Miss Rose's voice echoing in her mind. "Go make something of yourself, Dory. Don't let one mistake define you." She had promised she wouldn't. The college campus was alive, laughter spilling from corridors, music from someone's cheap Bluetooth speaker, students rushing to lectures with half-eaten mandazis. Dory walked among them quietly, her eyes taking everything in. She was no longer the naive girl who once believed love would protect her. She was someone new, still fragile, but determined to rebuild. The first few weeks were tough. Her body was still recovering, her mind still haunted by memories she didn't dare share. Nights were cold, and sometimes she cried silently into her pillow. But every morning, she woke up and went to class. Every day, she tried a little harder to smile again. It was during her second semester that she found the notice pinned on the college board. Part-time job. Secretary needed at a nearby technician college. Requirements: responsible, punctual, fluent in English and Kiswahili. Her fingers trembled as she tore the paper off. It felt like the universe just opened a door, just wide enough for her to step through. The office smelled faintly of metal and printer ink. She was nervous at first, afraid she'd mess up or be treated poorly. But her boss, Mr. Mkwawa, was kind and professional. He taught her how to type letters, organize files, and answer calls. She caught on fast. Before long, the students at the technician college started greeting her warmly whenever they passed by. The shop owners nearby learned her name. And for the first time in forever, Dory began to feel seen. Not as a girl with a scandalous past, but as a young woman doing her best. Sometimes, clients would leave tips on the desk for her. "Asante, Secretary wangu." She'd smile, tuck the coins into her notebook, and save them for John. Every tiny thing she earned made her feel like she was reclaiming her power. By the second year, Dory's laughter returned. Softer, wiser, but real. She started baking again in the evenings, selling small cakes to classmates who loved her recipes. The aroma of vanilla and cinnamon filled her tiny dorm room, turning it into a sanctuary. There were moments when she'd sit by her window, staring at the city lights with a quiet smile. Somewhere out there, Ms. Rose was caring for John, and that thought alone gave her strength. She was no longer running from her past. She was walking toward her future. Then came that one afternoon, the kind that changes everything without warning. It was hot, the power had gone out, and Dory was fanning herself with a file. A group of students walked into the office to collect their certificates. One of them lingered, tall, calm, with a smile that didn't rush. "Excuse me, miss," he said politely. "You dropped this." She turned and saw him holding a pen she didn't even notice had fallen. His tone was respectful, his eyes steady, not flirtatious, not calculating, just kind. "Thanks," she replied softly, taking it from him. "You're welcome. I'm here." And that was it. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic yet, just a name and a smile. But for Dory, it was the first time in years her heart didn't flinch when a man looked at her. Days turned into weeks. Peter started showing up more often, always finding small reasons to pass by the office. A document here, a signature there. He wasn't pushy, he was patient. His humor was simple but golden. He'd bring her coffee sometimes, or help her fix the printer when it jammed. When she teased him about being too perfect, he laughed and said, "Maybe I'm just raised right." It wasn't love at first sight. It was love that grew quietly, like a song you hum before realizing you know all the words. Dory didn't want to admit it, but she began to look forward to seeing him. His calmness felt like safety, and for a woman who had known chaos, safety was the most romantic thing of all. The city nights no longer felt lonely. Dory started walking back from work, humming tunes she hadn't sung since secondary school. She even joined the student art club again, her sketches filled with soft, healing colors. Sometimes she'd pause under the streetlights and think, maybe this is what healing looks like, small moments that don't hurt anymore. The Man Who Waited. If life were a movie, love might arrive with fireworks and dramatic music. But for Dory, love came quietly, with the sound of a gentle knock on a wooden office door. A friendship that felt different. Peter never rushed Dory. He walked beside her, never ahead. He listened, never pried. He smiled, never demanded one in return. Where Mike had been fire, bright, reckless, consuming, Peter was a sunrise. Slow, warm, patient. And that made Dory uneasy, because she'd forgotten what patience looked like in a man. One afternoon, he waited outside the office until she finished closing up. "You walk alone every day," he said, rubbing the back of his neck nervously. "Can I accompany you, just to make sure you get home safe?" Dory hesitated, the kind of hesitation stitched from fear and hope both. Then she nodded. "Only if you don't talk too much." He laughed softly. "Deal." They walked under golden streetlights, talking about nothing and everything. Favorite foods, childhood memories, music tastes, dreams. Not once did he look at her like she was broken. Not once did he ask for more than what she offered. Cracking the shell. Weeks passed, and Peter found small ways to show up. He left her hot chocolate on her desk during exams. He fixed the wobbling chair she always struggled with. He wrote little notes like, "Don't forget, you deserve good things too." Every gesture chipped away at the walls she'd built around her heart. One evening, they stopped by a shop window displaying baby clothes. Dory froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Peter noticed, but instead of asking questions, he simply stepped closer, silently offering his presence like a shield. "Whoever that little one is," he said gently, "I hope they know how lucky they are to have you." Dory swallowed a sob she didn't want him to hear. It was the first time anyone acknowledged her motherhood with kindness, not judgment. She whispered, "Thank you, Peter." He smiled, "Asante for letting me be in your life." And in that moment, her heart, once stitched with fear, began to trust again. A love that didn't demand. Peter's admiration was obvious to everyone but Dory. Students teased him. Teachers winked and asked when he'd finally confess. Even Mr. Mkwawa would chuckle when Peter pretended he just happened to need the printer during her shift. But Peter never pushed. He didn't want to be her escape. He wanted to be her home. One late evening, they sat on campus steps watching stars blink away. Dory whispered, "You're different." Peter turned to her, brow raised. "Different how?" "You don't ask for anything. You just stay." He gently tapped his chest, over his heart. When you admire someone truly, you don't rush what's meant to grow. The night carried his words straight into the chambers of her soul.